When our culture said no premarital sex, the music says yes premarital sex, and the driving beat excited the kids to do it. It created the collusion that's created so much rebellion in our system. But in the White Album, they introduced early this idea of backmasking, encouraging the children to go to drugs, encourage them to follow the guidance of these men like Timothy Leary, who became a priest of LSD. What do the kids do? They believed it. They did everything they were told to do. They didn't even realize what was happening to them. They became revolutionaries. They became communists. They became immoral, amoral. Revolutionary bookshops opened up around the campuses that once had kids going to school with ties and suits, and now you could see the kids with long hair, unshaved, smelly, laying in the gutters, suffocating in their own vomit. I've walked along those streets and seen these kids' violence on campus. Here we have the situation where punk photography has affected so many and became a music form of perversion. These men would urinate on the audience, perform sex perversion in front of these teenagers. And the parents didn't know what was happening there, throw themselves in the audience to get beat up to a pulp. Kids would sew razor blades in their clothing and bash into each other and bloody the floors and slide around, beat each other up. And pain was considered the ultimate turn-on. But monosexuality or bisexuality became the thing. And a performer that wants to make it big doesn't make it unless he flaunts the idea that he's both a male and a female. The ancient hermaphroditic religion of the past, AC/DC, means bisexuality. These men are Satanists, and it reflects on their record covers everywhere you look. Those record covers glorify death, perversion, suffering, and these are the most popular groups. I know there may be good groups, but the kids are being bound up and then they get drawn a little bit further and further along until the ultimate drug, hard rock, becomes interesting to them. When little Richard Penniman came out of that movement, he'd been a homosexual, he said that when I went on stage, I was possessed, and he knew for a fact that other stage performers, others that were into the occult, were actually casting spirits into the records and into the master tape so as to bring those children into the occult. Many of these peoples are witches, and this man brought that out. There he is studying the spirit of prophecy, and here he is preaching, and today he's traveling, doing preaching still. But if you look at the faces of these people, you see possession. You see possession. You see possession. You see Satan glaring out at the young people. This man's name is Alice Cooper. That's the name of a 15th century witch that claims to possess him. And when you look at that face, you see Satan holding a baby, the old offering of human sacrifices and such vulgar rites. Rod Stewart claims to be a Druid priest. Blue Oyster Cults covers their records with these satanic symbols of these bisexual creatures. And everywhere you look, you see that. Jim Steinman, Meatloaf, claimed to be possessed on stage. He'd do back handsprings, forward handsprings, and then they'd have to put him into a portable lung because his body wasn't doing it, and it couldn't stand the strain. Jimmy Page lives in Aleister Crowley's old house and does witchcraft satanic rites there. One of his records, called Houses of the Holy, had little naked children going up to an old Druid temple, and they were being offered as a human sacrifice. Kiss, knights in Satan's service that flaunt themselves as demons, destroying the whole world in their Destroyer record. And sometimes on stage you see the winged serpent, the winged dragon. After they flaunted themselves for so long, eating blood, breathing fire on stage with the most popular group among the 13-year-olds in the United States, now, as their popularity waned, they took their clothes, they took their makeup off, and now everyone has to come out and see these Satanists again. They're evangelists for the devil. This group, Twisted Sister, couldn't get anywhere. They couldn't accomplish anything until they donned the satanic garb and began to flaunt it before the kids, and the kids came out. These mindless kids came out en masse. Judas Priest. And one of the most popular groups today is this group here. Come on, don't do that to me, you mind of mine. Well, it's Satan. You can see, I'll remember it in the middle. Motley Crue, and look on their foreheads, you'll see that pentagram. It's Satanism, and the children would do anything to get close. Quotes from recent publications, these girls are saying, I'll do anything. They can do anything to me just to meet him. That's all I want to do is meet them. I don't want to meet him, especially at night in the middle of a dream. It would be a terrifying experience. But there's the symbol of Satan there. This fellow here, he wasn't all that popular, but all of a sudden he made a tape, and this is what he looked like on that tape, Thriller. This is what he looked like on that tape, Thriller, and all of a sudden overnight he became a world superstar. He takes hormones to remain like a girl so his voice will stay high. But you look at those records covers and they're filled with occult symbolism, the cross, the scarab beetle, the pyramid, and so on, the eternal fire, the chakra points of Hinduism, or the Om, as George Harrison points out here. One record shows the pentagram and a naked man standing in it, as a witchcraft does when he carries out his activities in witchcraft. 1, 2, or 2, 1, 1, 2 symbolize both good and evil. Queen, live killers. And on one of their records, which would probably be this one here, they're doing a seance on the cover for the young people. Black Sabbath, 3 S's, 666. And one of their songs just sings revolution all the way through it, and that goes through the minds over and over again. Another one says, you're searching for your mind, don't know where to start, can't find the key to fit on your heart. You think you know, but you're never quite sure. Your soul is ill, but you will not find the cure. Your world was made for you by someone above, but you choose evil ways instead of love. You made me master of the world where you exist. The soul I took for you was not even missed. Lord of this world, evil possessor, Lord of this world, he's your confessor now. You think you're innocent, you've nothing to fear. You don't know me, you say, but isn't it clear? You turn to me in all your worldly greed and pride, but will you turn to me when it's your time to die? And this, it just goes to the kids' heads over and over again. One record shows the 3 angels smoking in gray outfits playing cards. Another one talks about being born again, and it's a devil's baby at born again. Another one under the skull says 666 on it, human sacrifice on the cover. Another shows a shroud from the gutters of a city with these faceless beings there, and it's got a face of the devil on it as a counterfeit of the Shroud of Turin. They're laughing at the Christian world, and they're taking the children away from the Christian families. This man here left the Black Sabbath group to go out on his own for a while, Ozzy Osbourne, but he flaunts the same thing, and he has tremendous population, especially when on stage he bit the head off of a bat and caught rabies. Biting the arms and appendages and heads off of little animals, throwing their little quivering bodies out into the audience. It became a fad, and children were destroying little animals by biting them, eating them. It was a terrible thing, and he's still going strong. He may rejoin Black Sabbath again. That'll be kind of nostalgic, won't it? But this is him with his little girl. Madonna is flaunting symbolism of Christianity and purity before the young people. And there she is in a wedding garment with crosses all over her. Here's her record, Madonna, name taken from Mary, and the song is Like a Virgin. And yet, when you look at her, it's interesting. The back of her shows the symbol of the Illuminati, the symbol of Lucifer. Now, in northern Europe, the Teutonic invaders brought with them, the barbarians that weren't converted, brought with them the teachings of the northern European race, witchcraft. And you'll see this Aryan concept of old Nazism put out on these record covers, but this was the most startling of them all. Jim Steinman, now look, that is a fallen angel, and he's got golden wings. He carries a chain in his hands. He's broken free, you see, from his chains, and his guitar is his destroying weapon with a blade coming out of it. I know, he says, that I'm going to be like this forever. I'm never going to be what I should, and you think I'll be like this for just a little while? I know that I'll be bad for good. And oh, you see, so beautiful. Blonde, blue-eyed, northern European, bad for good. Satan is at the head of that movement, the golden-winged fallen angel. But this Aryan thing is all over the place today. Satan loves worship, and you see sometimes he places himself right on those records. He wants open worship. He wants an open Luciferian world where he's the God that gets worship, and he's going to have it. He's going to have it. But the children are being controlled by these men. There's a science behind this. That thing that looks like a big flying saucer, all that is a computerized controller for lights, for the programs that go on stage. Just, you think about the old Pavlov and his study on the human nervous system. You know, there's a science behind this. Behind the Rolling Stones, in one film that was made, cameras were shooting out across the audience, and they could see that when they sang Sympathy for the Devil, fights broke out and a man was beat to death right below the stage. Then they changed to a softer song, and then the marijuana cigarettes lighted up across it. They know they control you. They know they control the millions that they're singing to across the country. And I won't go into this too deeply, but there's some, the different forms of dance that are created. You'd have to go into the occult to find the origins of these things. Punkers sit on the streets of some of our major cities today. Their goal is to have a peaceful demonstration against everything that's normal in society. What's the result? The fall in public school enrollment has alarming extent. Is why the NEA and others are trying desperately to win back people to the public school system. This is why there's a crackdown on home education today. But the occult is there. Satan is there. One man who was involved in the spiritualistic movement of the Fox sisters, John Ballou Norborough, under spirit guidance, wrote the Owaspie Bible.